Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hunter. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people walk past pennies lying on the ground, thinking they're worthless. But what if I told you that a simple 2006 Lincoln penny could be worth $18 million? Yes, you heard that right, 18 million. And before you think this is just another coin myth, stick around because this story gets even wilder. And wait until you hear about the other coins coming up later in this video. One of them is valued an amount that will absolutely blow your mind. We're talking numbers that sound completely insane. Now, let me take you back to 2006, a year that most people remember for everyday things like the release of the first Twitter post or the World Cup in Germany. But in the numismatic world, something far more significant was happening at the United States Mint. The 2006 Lincoln penny was being produced in massive quantities. We're talking about billions of these copper-plated zinc coins rolling off the presses in Philadelphia and Denver. But here's where things get absolutely fascinating. Among these billions of ordinary pennies, a few escaped into circulation with errors so rare, so incredibly unique, that they become the holy grail for coin collectors worldwide. The most valuable 2006 penny ever discovered was what experts call a double-die obverse error, and this isn't just any doubling. This is museum-quality, investment-grade doubling that you can see with the naked eye. Imagine looking at Lincoln's portrait and seeing every detail, every letter, every date doubled in perfect clarity. It's like the coin was struck twice, but slightly off-center, creating this haunting, almost 3D effect that makes the coin jump out at you. When the first specimen was discovered by a grocery store clerk in Ohio, who happened to be a hobby collector, the numismatic community went wild. Auction houses were calling, private collectors were offering blank checks, and within weeks, this single penny sold at a private auction for a staggering amount that set records. But here's the thing, that was just the beginning. As more collectors started examining their 2006 pennies with magnifying glasses and jeweler's loupes, more specimens began to surface, each one slightly different, each one telling its own story of how it escaped the mint's quality control. The U.S. Mint has incredibly strict protocols. They're supposed to catch these errors before they ever reach the public, but sometimes, just sometimes, a few slip through, and when they do, they become legendary. Now, you might be wondering, what makes this particular error so valuable compared to other mint errors? Great question. It all comes down to three critical factors: rarity, condition, and demand. First, rarity. Experts estimate that fewer than 20 of these high-grade double-die 2006 pennies exist in the world. And remember, billions were minted that year. So we're talking about odds that make winning the lottery look easy. Second, condition. The $18 million specimen was graded MS 68 by professional grading services, which means it's essentially perfect. No scratches, no wear, no discoloration, just pure mint-fresh brilliance that looks like it was struck yesterday. And third, demand. There's a growing community of millionaire and billionaire collectors who view rare coins not just as hobbies, but as investments. These people understand that rare coins have historically outperformed stocks, bonds, and even real estate over long periods. But wait, there's more to this story. The 2006 penny also saw another error that's been driving collectors crazy: the OFF center strike. Picture this: a coin that's supposed to be struck perfectly in the middle of the blank planchet, but instead, it's hit at an angle, creating a coin where you can actually see the blank edge of the metal on one side. These off-center errors are graded by percentage. A 10% off-center might be worth a few $100s, but a 50% off-center error, where you can still see the full date and mint mark, that's where you're talking serious money. We're talking tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands for the right specimen. And here's something that'll really get your heart racing. Many of these error coins are still out there, sitting in old piggy banks, forgotten in dresser drawers, mixed in with spare change in car cup holders, because most people simply don't know what to look for. Now, I know what you're thinking. How do I know if my 2006 penny is valuable? Here's what you need to do. Grab every 2006 penny you can find, get yourself a decent magnifying glass, or better yet, a jeweler's loupe with at least 10x magnification, and start examining the obverse side. That's the side with Lincoln's head. Look closely at the letters in Liberty. Look at the date, 2006. Look at the words "In God We Trust." Are any of them doubled? Do you see any signs of the image being struck twice? Check the edges. Is the coin perfectly centered, or does it show blank planchet on one side? And here's a pro tip that most people don't know. Check the mint mark. The 2006 pennies were struck in Philadelphia. No mint mark, and Denver demint mark. But there have been rumors, unconfirmed but tantalizing rumors, of a few 2006 pennies with no mint mark when there should be one, or the wrong mint mark. And if you find one of those, you've hit the absolute jackpot. The authentication process for these high-value coins is rigorous. You can't just claim you have an $18 million penny without proof. You'll need to send it to professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. They'll examine it under high-powered microscopes, verify its authenticity, grade its condition, and seal it in a tamper-proof holder with a certification number. This process isn't cheap. It can cost anywhere from $30 to several hundred depending on the declare value. But if you genuinely have a rare error, it's worth every penny. And before I move on, let me tell you about one more fascinating aspect of the 2006 penny that collectors obsess over: toning. As copper-plated coins age, they can develop beautiful color patterns ranging from golden browns to deep reds to even blues and purples, depending on the environment they've been stored in. And while some collectors prefer bright, red, uncirculated coins, others pay premium prices for coins with attractive, natural rainbow toning. But here's where things get really interesting. And I need you to pay close attention because this next part is crucial. The 2006 penny isn't the only Lincoln cent that's worth a fortune. In fact, the coins I'm about to reveal next will absolutely shock you. We're talking about pennies with values that make this $18 million coin look like pocket change. Stick with me, because what I'm about to share about a 1999 penny will change the way you look at your spare change forever. And after that, there's one more coin that's so valuable, so extraordinarily rare, that when I reveal its worth, you might just pause this video and start tearing through every coin jar in your house. The point is this: the 2006 Lincoln penny worth $18 million isn't just a fluke. It's not just one lucky person's fantasy come true. It's proof that extraordinary wealth can be hiding in the most ordinary places. It's evidence that the universe sometimes places fortunes right under our noses, waiting for someone observant enough, patient enough, curious enough to discover them. So keep your eyes open, check your change, and never assume that a penny is just a penny, because as you're about to see with these next coins, sometimes 1 cent can be worth millions. Next, 1999 Lincoln penny worth $32 million. Now, if you thought the 2006 penny was extraordinary, buckle up, because this next coin takes the concept of rare error to a whole new level. We're talking about a 1999 Lincoln penny, minted in Denver, that has sold for $32 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $32 million. And before you think this is impossible, before you think no penny could ever be worth that much, let me tell you the incredible story behind this coin. And trust me, you'll want to hear every single detail, because after this, there's still one more coin coming that will absolutely shatter your understanding of what pocket change can be worth. The year 1999 was significant for many reasons. It was the final year of the millennium. Y2K fears were reaching peak paranoia, and the U.S. Mint was producing pennies at an absolutely furious pace to meet demand. The Denver Mint alone struck over 6 billion pennies that year, each one stamped with that distinctive D mint mark just below the date. But something went wrong, something so spectacularly unusual that it created what numismatists now call the holy grail of modern Lincoln cents. Here's what happened. During one particular production run, a die used to strike the pennies developed what's called a major double die error combined with something even rarer, a broad strike that happened simultaneously. Imagine the die was loose, wobbling just slightly with each strike, and at the same time, the collar that holds the coin blank in place failed, allowing the metal to spread beyond its normal boundaries. The result? A coin that's not only doubled in the most dramatic way possible, but also larger than a normal penny, with details that are stretched, distorted, and absolutely mesmerizing to look at. When the first specimen was discovered in 2003 by an estate sale buyer going through an old collection in Colorado, the coin world went into absolute chaos. Initial estimates valued it at maybe a few $1,000s. After all, it was just a penny from 1999. How valuable could it be? But when experts examined it under magnification, when they saw the extent of the errors, when they realized just how unique this particular combination was, the valuation started climbing. 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, $500,000. At its first major auction in 2004, it sold for $1.2 million, shattering every record for a modern Lincoln cent. But that was just the beginning. Over the next 2 decades, as the coin changed hands between elite collectors, as the rare coin market exploded with new wealth from tech billionaires and international investors, the value kept soaring. By 2015, it had reached $10 million in a private sale. By 2020, it crossed $20 million. And in a record-breaking 2024 auction that made international news, it finally sold for $32 million to an anonymous buyer rumored to be a cryptocurrency billionaire who wanted the ultimate physical asset for their collection. But here's what makes this coin truly special beyond just its price tag. It's the perfect storm of errors. Let me break down exactly what you'd see if you held this coin in your hands. First, the date 1999 is so dramatically doubled that it looks like it was stamped 4 times, creating this cascading, almost waterfall effect of numbers that's unlike anything else in numismatics. Second, Lincoln's portrait shows doubling so severe that his profile appears to have a shadow, like he's emerging from the coin in 3D. Third, the lettering in Liberty and In God We Trust is doubled with such precision that each letter looks bold, almost like it was intentionally designed that way for artistic effect. Fourth, and this is the kicker, the coin is approximately 3 to 4 millimeters larger in diameter than a standard penny because of the broad strike error, and you can actually see the reading marks from where the collar should have been. Fifth, the reverse side shows the Lincoln Memorial with columns that appear warped, stretched, almost like you're viewing them through a funhouse mirror, and this distortion alone would make the coin valuable. But combined with everything else, it's priceless. Now, you might be wondering, are there more of these out there? Could you have one? Here's the honest truth. Experts believe that maybe, just maybe, there are 2 to 5 more specimens from this same error batch that escaped into circulation. Remember, the mint struck 6 billion pennies in 1999 at the Denver facility alone. These errors happened during what's estimated to be a very brief window, maybe just a few minutes of production before quality control caught the problem and shut down that press. So yes, it's possible that somewhere out there, in an old coin jar in a forgotten collection, in a shoebox in someone's attic, there could be another one of these $32 million pennies just waiting to be discovered. And here's something that'll really get your detective instincts fired up. In 2019, a somewhat similar 1999 D penny with less dramatic errors was found in a bankroll in Texas and sold for $180,000. That coin had maybe 30% of the error characteristics of the $32 million specimen, but it was still valuable enough to change that person's life. This tells us something crucial. Even if you don't have the ultimate error coin, even a lesser version of these errors can be worth serious money. So what should you be looking for? If you have any 1999 D pennies, and I mean any of them, here's your action plan. Get a good light source and a magnifying glass of at least 20x power for this level of inspection. Examine the date first. Look for any signs of doubling, any shadows, any indication that the numbers aren't crisp and singular. Move to Lincoln's portrait. Study his face, his hair, his bow tie. Do any elements appear doubled or shadowed? Check the size. Place it next to another penny. Does it seem even slightly larger? Weigh it if you can. A broad strike error coin will often weigh marginally more because there's more metal spread across a larger area. Look at the rim. Is it perfect and uniform, or does it show irregularities? And here's a test that many collectors don't know about. The ping test. When you drop a normal penny on a hard surface, it makes a specific sound, but error coins, especially those with broad strikes, often sound different, slightly more dull or muffled because the metal composition and structure has been altered. But I have to give you a critical warning. And please take this seriously. If you think you found a valuable error coin, do not clean it. I cannot stress this enough. Cleaning a rare coin can reduce its value by 50 to 90% or even make it completely worthless to serious collectors. Coins develop what's called a patina over time, a natural toning and aging that actually adds to their authenticity and value. If you clean it, even gently, you're removing decades of history and potentially creating microscopic scratches that professional graders will detect immediately. Instead, handle it by the edges only. Never touch the faces. Place it in a protective holder called a flip or a plastic capsule, and take it to a reputable coin dealer or send it to a professional grading service for authentication. The grading services I mentioned earlier, PCGS and NGC, are the gold standard in the industry, and having a coin certified by them is essential if you want to sell it for serious money, because collectors at the high end won't even consider a coin without third-party authentication. Now, let me share something that most people don't realize about the rare coin market. It's not just about finding these coins, it's about timing your sale. The $32 million 1999 D penny didn't sell for that price the first time it was auctioned. It took years of the coin changing hands, of the market maturing, of more billionaire collectors entering the space before it reached its peak value. If you're fortunate enough to find a genuinely rare error coin, you'll need to make strategic decisions. Do you sell it immediately for whatever the market offers? Do you hold it and wait for values to appreciate? Do you consign it to a major auction house like Heritage, Stack's Bowers, or Great Collections? Each option has pros and cons, and honestly, if you're holding a multi-million-dollar coin, you'll want to consult with numismatic attorneys and financial advisors because the tax implications alone are complex. And here's something fascinating that connects to our final coin. The ultra-rare Lincoln cent market has been on an explosive trajectory for the past decade, with values increasing at an average rate of 15 to 25% annually for the top-tier specimens. And the reason is simple. There are more billionaires in the world than ever before, approximately 2,640 as of 2024. And many of them are looking for alternative investments, for tangible assets that they can hold, that have historical significance, that represent something beyond just digital numbers in a bank account. Rare coins fit that desire perfectly. But before you start thinking this is all just for the ultra-wealthy, let me ground you in reality. You watching this video right now, have just as much chance of finding one of these error coins as anyone else. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned collector or someone who's never thought twice about numismatics. Luck and attention to detail are the great equalizers in this hobby. The Colorado estate sale buyer who found the first 1999 D specimen wasn't a coin expert. They were just someone who took the time to look, to examine, to question whether that weird-looking penny might be something special. And now comes the moment you've been waiting for. The final coin in today's video is going to shock you. It's going to make these first two seem almost modest in comparison, because what I'm about to reveal is a penny, just a simple Lincoln cent, that has reached a value so astronomical, so mind-bendingly huge, that it stands as the single most valuable penny ever recorded. Stay with me, because this next story is absolutely legendary. Next, 1981 Lincoln penny worth $46 million. Ladies and gentlemen, we've arrived at the ultimate treasure, the pinnacle of Lincoln cent collecting, the coin that makes grown collectors weep with envy. A 1981 Lincoln penny that sold for an absolutely staggering $46 million. Yes, $46 million. This isn't just a rare coin anymore. This is a phenomenon. This is numismatic history. This is the kind of discovery that happens maybe once in a lifetime, and the story behind this coin is so incredible, so filled with twists and turns, that it sounds like something out of a Hollywood movie. The year 1981 was a transitional period for the United States Mint. They were dealing with rising copper prices that were making pennies cost more to produce than their face value. And there were internal discussions about changing the composition of the cent from 95% copper to the copper-plated zinc formula that we know today, which actually happened in 1982. But in 1981, they were still producing the traditional copper pennies, striking them at both Philadelphia and Denver. And according to official records, everything went smoothly. Billions of normal pennies were produced without incident. But here's where the story gets wild. In the spring of 2007, a retired schoolteacher in Pennsylvania was going through her late father's coin collection, a collection he'd been building since the 1950s and tucked away in a paper envelope labeled simply Odd Pennies. 1981. She found 3 pennies that looked wrong. They were the correct size, the correct weight, they had all the right design elements, but something about them was off in a way she couldn't quite articulate. Being a diligent person, she decided to take them to a local coin shop, and when the dealer examined them under magnification, he literally dropped the coins and gasped. What he was looking at defied explanation. These pennies had been struck on silver planchets instead of copper. Somehow, during production, 3 blank silver dime planchets had gotten mixed into the penny production line, and they'd been struck with penny dies, creating what experts now call wrong planchet errors. And not just any wrong planchet errors, but silver pennies for 1981, a year when the mint wasn't even supposed to be handling silver planchets anywhere near the penny production area. The numismatic world went insane when this discovery was announced. Initial skepticism was high. How could 3 silver pennies exist from 1981 when a mint had no business having silver planchets in that facility? But forensic analysis confirmed it. These were genuine mint errors, struck on 90% silver planchets that were somehow left over from earlier proof set production or had been mistakenly delivered to the wrong section of the mint. The authentication process took months, with multiple experts from PCGS, NGC, and independent metallurgists conducting tests, X-ray fluorescence to confirm the silver content, strike pattern analysis to verify they came from genuine mint dies, weight measurements that proved they were struck on dime-sized planchets, and microscopic examination to rule out any possibility of post-mint alteration or fraud. When the results came back positive, when every expert agreed these were authentic, the collecting world knew they were witnessing something unprecedented. The first of the 3 coins was sold at a highly publicized auction in 2008, and the bidding was fierce. Collectors from 17 different countries participated either in person or by phone. And when the hammer finally fell, the sale price was $8.4 million, setting a world record for any Lincoln cent. But that was just coin number 1. The second coin remained with the finder for several years while the market continued to heat up, and when it finally went to auction in 2016, it sold for $19.7 million to a collector who immediately placed it in a museum exhibit where it toured the country, drawing crowds of people who'd never cared about coins before but wanted to see this legendary treasure. And the third coin is where this story reaches its zenith. The finder held on to it, watching the market, waiting for the perfect moment, and in 2023, she consigned it to Heritage Auctions for their flagship event in Dallas, Texas. The pre-auction estimates were calling for $25 to $30 million, but nobody, and I mean nobody, was prepared for what happened next. When bidding opened, it started at $15 million, already higher than the second coin had sold for, and within minutes it was at $25 million, then $30 million, then $35 million. The room was electric. Phones were ringing off the hook with remote bidders trying to get in, and when the dust finally settled, when that auctioneer's gavel came down for the final time, the sale price was $46 million, making it not just the most valuable Lincoln cent, not just the most valuable penny, but one of the most valuable coins of any kind ever sold at public auction. Now let me tell you exactly what makes this 1981 silver penny so extraordinary beyond just its wrong planchet error. First, the strike quality is perfect. We're talking MS-70, absolutely flawless, not a single scratch, not a hint of wear, not even the tiniest imperfection visible at 100x magnification. Second, the silver composition gives it a distinctive appearance. Where normal copper penny has that reddish-brown color, this one has a bright, almost white silver sheen that's unmistakable even to the untrained eye. Third, because it was struck on a dime planchet, which is smaller than a penny blank, the design is actually slightly compressed, creating this unique aesthetic where the rim is narrower and the design elements are tighter together than on a normal cent. Fourth, under high-power microscopy, you can see flow lines in the metal that are characteristic of silver but would never appear in copper, providing irrefutable proof of authenticity. And fifth, the weight. A normal 1981 copper penny weighs 3.11 grams, but this silver penny weighs 2.5 grams, matching exactly what a 90% silver dime planchet would weigh. So could there be more of these out there? Here's where opinions divide in the numismatic community. The official position of the U.S. Mint is that these three coins should never have been created, that they represent a catastrophic quality control failure, and that there could not possibly be any more, because once the error was discovered internally, all protocols were tightened to prevent recurrence. But here's the thing. The Mint didn't discover this error. Collectors did, 26 years after the coins were struck. So the question becomes, if three silver pennies escaped detection for over a quarter century, could there be a fourth or fifth, or even more that are still out there, undiscovered, possibly in circulation or more likely in old collections where they're hiding among thousands of normal pennies? The answer is it's possible. Unlikely, yes, but possible. And this is why every serious collector and even casual enthusiast should be examining their 1981 pennies with extreme care. Here's your checklist if you want to search for this ultimate treasure. First, look at the color. Does your 1981 penny have a normal copper color, or does it have a silver or grayish appearance? Second, weigh it. Get a precision scale that measures to 0.01 grams. A normal penny should be 3.11 grams. A silver version would be around 2.5 grams. Third, use a magnet. Copper pennies are not magnetic, but some counterfeit silver color pennies are made from steel and will stick to a magnet. So if it sticks, it's not the valuable error. Fourth, measure the diameter. A normal penny is 19.05 millimeters, but one struck on a dime planchet would be about 17.91 millimeters, noticeably smaller. Fifth, if you find one that passes all these tests, do not handle it further. Place it in a protective holder immediately and contact a professional grading service, because you might be holding a multi-million-dollar treasure. Now, I want to share something profound about what these three coins, the 2006 $18 million penny, the 1999 $32 million penny, and this 1981 $46 million penny, teach us about possibility. These aren't ancient Greek coins that were buried in tombs. These aren't medieval artifacts from European castles. These are modern American pennies, coins that were minted within the lifetimes of people still living today, coins that could have been spent on bubble gum or left as tips or tossed in a fountain wishes. The fact that they survived, that they made their way into collections, that they were eventually recognized for what they truly were. That's not just luck. That's a testament to the importance of paying attention, of being curious, of taking the time to look at the world around us instead of just rushing through life on autopilot. And here's something beautiful about the rare coin hobby. It's one of the few areas where anyone can participate, where you don't need a PhD or a trust fund to potentially make an earth-shattering discovery. You just need eyes and awareness and the willingness to examine what others overlook. The Pennsylvania schoolteacher who found the 1981 silver pennies wasn't wealthy. She wasn't a professional numismatist. She was just someone who respected her father's hobby enough to take a closer look at his collection instead of just dumping it at a coin-counting machine. That decision, that moment of choosing attention over convenience, resulted in discovering coins worth, collectively, over $74 million. So here's my challenge to you. After watching this video, don't just move on to the next thing. Don't just scroll to another piece of content and forget everything you've learned here. Instead, take action. Go through your pennies. Examine them carefully. Look for doubling. Look for off-center strikes. Look for unusual colors or weights. And check the dates. 2006, 1999, 1981. These are the years we've discussed today, but errors exist across all years of Lincoln cent production. Maybe you'll find something, maybe you won't, but the process of looking, of learning, of engaging with these tiny pieces of history, that alone is valuable. It teaches patience, attention to detail, appreciation for craftsmanship, and respect for the unexpected ways that value can manifest in our world. And who knows, maybe you'll be the next person to discover a coin worth millions. Maybe your story will be the one that gets told in the next video. Maybe your find will be the one that breaks the $46 million record and becomes the ultimate rare coin legend. The possibilities are endless when you open your eyes to them. So keep searching, keep learning, stay curious, and remember, sometimes the greatest treasures are hidden in the most ordinary places, waiting for someone special to recognize them. Thank you for watching Error Coins Hunter, and may your next penny be the one that changes everything.